What's up, YouTube? E here, coming at you with something a little bit different today. When I was first beginning Gwent, I was really scouring the YouTube space for instructional videos and things like that, and I always felt like there wasn't enough. And even as more of an advanced Gwent player now, and by no means an expert, but somebody who can make top 500 of pro rank, top 200 of pro rank, I would still really like to see other content creators provide some instructional stuff. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm starting a new series on my channel called Deck Doctor, where I will be taking homebrew decks from my viewers or people on Reddit, or probably going forward, people who are viewers, and then we're going to dig into them. We're going to talk about any deck building errors or some questionable things that I see in the deck. We're going to try to give it some improvements, but without losing the spirit of the deck. So what I'm not going to do is take your deck and turn it into some meta deck or some cookie cutter deck that everybody's already playing. I'm going to try to keep the spirit of the deck intact. So that's what we're going to do today. The deck we're going to look at is from Frisco Del Rosario on Reddit. He was nice enough to let me use his deck as the first one in the series. So thank you very much, Frisco, and I hope that you get a lot out of this. Now, Frisco is a new player. He has been playing for roughly a month, a little bit under, and so I do understand as a new player, he's not going to have all the cards yet, right? And I'm surely a lot of you watching do not have the whole card pool, and I do get that, but since I'm not aware of exactly what you have, I am going to be putting cards in here, give you somewhere to build this deck to, and for everybody watching who's not Frisco, this is mainly for educational purposes. Okay, let's get into it. So the first thing that I notice right at the top here is that this deck contains 26 cards. This is not something we want to do. The minimum amount of cards that you're allowed to have in your deck is 25, and for a number of reasons, we don't want to go over 25. So the main reason is we don't want to spread our provisions too thin. Every deck has between 161 and 168 provisions available to it, depending on the leader ability, and you want to use all of those provisions in a match, right? You want to, at the end of a game, you want the fewest provisions possible to be left in your deck, because you wanted to get the most value out of your available provisions. So if you're wasting provisions because they're left in your deck, because you played more cards than you had to, right? So for example, instead of playing 2 4s, I can remove 2 of these 4s and play an 8. And I'd still be at 25. I would much rather have a situation where I get to play, when I only get to play 1 card, where I get to play an 8 rather than I get to play a 4 and leave 4 points that could have been in my first 4 left in the deck. You're leaving provisions in the deck. Don't want to do that. So we're gonna trim this deck down to 25 cards, certainly. Okay, so let's take a look at the contents of the deck. We have the Gettyneth core. In Yu-Gi-Oh, we call the... I come from Yu-Gi-Oh originally, for, I guess, everybody who didn't know, unless you've been reading my Reddit posts. In Yu-Gi-Oh, when you have a set of cards that make up the core of a deck, that no matter how you tech it out one way or the other, they must contain those cards, we call that the core. You might purchase the core of a deck in Yu-Gi-Oh, and then you can just put your own stuff in and fill in the holes. So for this deck, this contains the Gettyneth core. Now, the Gettyneth core is going to contain, of course, Gettyneth, and then everything it takes to proc her, which is going to be these Crow Clan Preachers, and everything it takes to trigger these Crow Clan Preachers, which is going to be alchemy cards. So this deck contains Getty, it contains the Crow Clan Preachers, it contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 alchemy cards. A ton of alchemy cards, which is great. Great if we can fit them in there. So we're gonna try to leave that part alone. That's definitely like a core part of the deck. We're gonna have to take some alchemy cards out. That's a lot of alchemies, especially some of this stuff, the restore and all that. I'll get into that a little bit later. Next synergy we have, and one that you are particularly excited about with the Mask of Ouroboros change, is the Beast synergy. So we have Axel 3 Eyes. We're mostly going to be aiming to do its range effect, which is boost self by 1 for each allied beast. In order for this to be worth it, we really want at least 5 beasts on the field, so we can get a 10 for 7. More than that is definitely better. There are plenty of ways in this deck to get beasts on the field. We have our Crow Messengers, which are going to get 2 beasts on the field. We have the Crow's Eye Rhizomes, 2 of them, which can put up to 3 beasts on the field, as well as the Crow's Eye Rhizome that will be spawned from the Getineth. Let's see, any other beasts? Oh, the Crow Mother will spawn 2 crows, which are beasts. So I don't think it's going to be too difficult to get the value from the Axel 3 Eyes, but we're gonna keep that beast synergy in the deck. Now the next thing, because we have the Mask of Ouroboros and the new change that's coming that's going to add the beasts, we'd like to have a discard package. That's why you're giving up a couple points, right? Because you could just play Lamp or just play Tactical Advantage and get 5 points, but we're choosing to get 4 points from the Crows so that we can benefit off of the discards from the Mask of Ouroboros. Currently, we only have 1 discard target. So if we don't draw this in round 1, it's just going to be a brick, and it's going to be a 4 for 4 if it gets stuck in our hand. So we could go 2 ways. We could take this out completely and change our stratagem, but we don't want to do that, especially with the boost that's coming up. So we're going to add more to this discard package and make it more of a complete package. We're probably not going to play everything because we got a lot we're going to try to fit in this deck, but we're going to play more. So the weakness of this deck, I would say, is this section right here. You have your Greatsword. You have your Greatswords here, and then you have a bunch of cards that are only going to be useful on your Greatswords. So we have the Restore, which the Greatsword, as far as I can tell, is the only target in the deck for it that's going to be reliably damaged. Now, I asked Frisco about this on Reddit, and he said that he likes the Restore because it is on a damaged Greatsword. So a Greatsword is going to come out as a 10. He's going to damage himself to a 4. Then you can restore him, and he'll go to 16 points. So that would end up being 12 points for 6 on the Restore, which sounds like pretty good value, I will admit. But wait, it's a trap. This is not a real 12 points because it takes some of those points from the Greatsword. So we're playing this 6 provision Greatsword because we want his effect, that whenever your enemy takes damage, you're going to heal him by 1. If we just let him come out as a 4 and then boost him and attribute 12 of those points to Restore, that means we can only attribute 4 points to Greatsword, and he's playing as a 4 for 6. We definitely don't want to be playing 4 for 6s. So we have to consider this interaction differently. We have to consider that we're paying 12 provisions for a 16-point play, which is not terrible, but it's not great. Generally, for 16 points, you'd want to do, like, you can usually get 16 points from 2 5s. So, for example, if you play a Crow Messenger and then a Crow Clan Druid, you're getting the same number of points. You're ending up with 16 points, but it's only cost you 10 provisions instead of 12 provisions. So don't be fooled by Restore on Greatsword. Just because the Restore seems to be getting a lot of points, think about the other card in the interaction as well. So we're going to remove Restore. And now there is a lot of synergy going on here with the Gigascorp, the Delirium, and the Greatsword. But I dare say it's not enough. So Gigascorp is actually just a good card that we're going to want to play anyways. It's an alchemy, one of the better alchemies. It's a piece of removal. We like that. The Delirium's a bit weaker. If your opponent doesn't play something useful early, right, and they end up having their field kind of swarmed, this can suck. Now, it is really good in some matchups. It's good against AQ, for example. But we're gonna get rid of this whole Greatsword package because we kind of need room to fit our other packages. So one of the things that you have to be cautious about when you're deck building is not trying to focus on too many things at once, because there's only so much stuff you can fit in your deck. So at first we were trying to fit the Greatsword synergy, the Getty synergy, the discard synergy, and the beast synergy. That's just too much stuff. We're going to try to fit 3 things in here because we're going to try to keep it as close to the main idea as possible. But generally speaking, as synergistic as your deck can be, the better. You don't want to be mixing too many ideas into one deck. So yeah, we lose the Greatsword synergy. That means that our Reckless Flurry is not so hot anymore. The only thing we're getting value from in our Reckless Flurry was the Greatsword, so we have the ability to change this leader. Now, since we're playing all the alchemy cards, I think it makes sense to go with Battle Trance. Battle Trance is going to heal a random allied unit anytime that we play an alchemy, and perhaps more importantly, it's going to have an order to spawn and play Mardrome, which is an alchemy card, which will trigger your Crow Clan Preachers if you have them on the field with your Gettyneth, and it allows for a really explosive short round 3 with Gettyneth if we so choose to have it. So we're switching to Battle Trance. It does give us an extra provision as well, and we'll take that. So right at the top here I can see there is no Aneromancy. So I know a lot of new players don't have Aneromancy, and it's not the most exciting card to craft, you know. It's like, oh, okay, great, now I have Aneromancy. Now I spent 800 scraps on it. Now I can play cards that I already had and I already could play. Yeah, it's kind of boring, I get it. But for every new player, I think Aneromancy is the #1 most important card to build first. The reason being is it increases your consistency within your deck, and consistency is everything. It makes it so that you can get the card that you need twice. It's better than Royal Decree. Don't be trapped by Royal Decree being cheaper. It's definitely worth it to pay the extra provisions and play Aneromancy. So we're going to throw the Aneromancy in right now. We know we're going to want that. So going down the list, I notice we have Sigdrifa's Right, but nothing to really get off of it. So it can be tempting to play Sigdrifa's Right, especially in an alchemy deck, because it's the highest provision alchemy card. It's the best alchemy card. But even though it's the best alchemy card, it does not fit in this deck. The reason being is we have nothing good to summon from our graveyard into an allied row that's worth these 9 provisions. So this can be a little tricky because it says summon, it doesn't say play. So if you play Sigdrifa's Right and you target your Hemdall, for example, your Hemdall is going to come out onto the field just as a regular old 8 body. It's not going to get its deploy ability. So that means that we don't have anything in here that is worth getting. Our Hemdall actually wouldn't be worth... well, our Hemdall would be worth getting, right, if we could play the deploy ability and play Hemdall twice. That'd be great. He's a 12 provision card, but we can't because it only puts it on the field. So we're going to lose our Sigdrifa. Next thing I notice is too much Purify going on. So we're playing the Gremist, who is going to get a Purify every time we play an Alchemy card. We're playing the Mahakam Ale, which is going to boost a unit by 5 and remove its lock, which is essentially a Purify as well. And then we're playing double Crow's Eye, which is a Purify and boost by 3. I don't think you're going to need this much Purify. I gotta be honest with you. I think it's just kind of clogging up space. So first thing we're going to talk about is Mahakam Ale. So this card is generally considered bad. The reason it's considered bad is because it costs 5 provisions and it's situational. So you don't typically want to have a situational tech type card that costs more than 4 provisions. So any card in your deck that costs more than 4 provisions, you can think of that as actually costing you provisions. Because every card in your deck, 25 cards, must cost at least 4 provisions. Anything above that are provisions that that you're spending, right? So you don't want to spend provisions on any card that you're not going to be able to get good value from the majority of the time. If your opponent does not lock you, this card is only worth 5 points, a 5 for 5. That's really bad. We don't want to be playing 5 for 5s. It is an alchemy, so you're going to be getting those benefits, but especially with so many other purifies in the deck, we really don't need Mahakamail. Double Crow's Eye is a bit much. We're going to lose one of them. And the Grimmest is a debatable card, right? So when Lockdown was the deck to beat, you had to play Grimmest. There was just way too many locks in the meta. But with this deck, we don't have much stuff that's going to get locked. We pretty much only have our Crow Clan Preachers that are going to get locked. There's not really any engines in this deck. So for that reason, I think that we can afford to lose our Grimmest. We're going to just play the one Crow's Eye. We can search it from our Ermion if we need it. And if we don't need it, we can just mulligan it away and we don't have to feel bad because we didn't spend any provisions on this card. This is the cheapest we can get a card, so it doesn't actually count as spending anything. Yeah, other than that, I think it looks pretty solid. We're going to start adding some stuff now. So quick thing on Geralt of Rivia. So I know for new players, this is the only tall punish that you have accessible, but at least in the current meta. Now, I don't know what rank the player who gave me this deck is playing in. It might be a rank where there's not really an established meta yet, or perhaps there is an established meta and Geralt is very good. But for the games I'm playing in, which is going to be what a lot of you watching are playing in, which is I'm playing in pro rank, but the meta's similar. The quality of play is different, but the meta's similar pretty much from rank 5 or 6 all the way up to pro rank. It's the same kind of decks you're going to run into. Yeah, more meta type decks, and there's quite a few decks in the meta that Geralt of Rivia is just not getting good value from. So you could play a Heat Wave here instead if you have it, but we're just gonna lose the Geralt and try to focus more on the other synergies in our deck. So first things first, we're gonna try to complete this discard package. So we're gonna add the other Skirmisher, and then we're gonna add some Scalds. So this is like the classic combo: Scald into Skirmisher. You thin your deck by 1. And it's 8 points of tempo for 4. Really solid, really good. You love to see it. And then you have some additional discards for your Mask of Ouroboros. The other card we're going to play is just a Burn of Bran. Now, you can get away with just playing the 4 provisions. The 4 provision discards if you like. But we are going to play the Burn of Bran. This gives us the opportunity to get both of these off in one turn if we like. It also just thins our deck. You know, if we have some stuff we don't want, say we have a dead Crow's Eye in our hand or something like that, or we have 2 Crow Messengers in our hand, we can discard one of them with the Burn of Bran and then play the other. It'll summon our other Crow Messenger out of the graveyard because our Crow Messengers don't just summon from the deck, they summon from the grave as well. So, gonna put that in there. Now, you could consider playing a Morkvarg. You could consider taking out the Burner and playing a Morkvarg on top. My problem is, though, I would much rather have a Burn of Bran without any stuff to discard than I would like to have a Skirmisher without any way to discard it. Because at least like a Scald or a Burna is going to thin your deck. It's going to improve your hand. A Skirmisher is going to not do anything if you dead draw it, you know. So yeah, I think that ratio is okay. I'll admit I am not an expert on the discard package, but I think 3 discarders, 4 if you count the mask, but of course games that were on Red Coin we're not going to have mask. So 3 discarders for 2 discard targets, I think that's pretty fair. So next thing we're going to do is we need a target for our Battle Trance. So we're going to take there's a couple ways you can go with this, right? So typical Gettynith is going to be playing Draco Turtle, which is a beast, but you're choosing not to play the priests in yours. You're going for a more point slammy version with trying to boost your beasts up and play the Axel and stuff. So the Draco Turtle would only be good with the Mardrome and the leader ability. You want something for this Mardrome to be able to get value on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go a little bit of an unusual way. We're going to play the Saris with the 2 Shield Maidens. So how this is going to work... Where are my Shield Maidens? There they are. How this is going to work is we're going to play the Saris out on the front row. It's going to spawn a Shield Maiden, and then we can use our leader ability to play Mardrome on the Shield Maiden. It'll damage it by 3, triggering it, and then boost it by 9. So it'll play for 6 points, and it will trigger a Shield Maiden to come out. So usually you're going to see Saris played in decks that are using Urson Ritual. But this is just another way that you can choose to play Saris, and I think it works nicely as a point slam and thinning card in our deck. Okay, so right now we have the correct amount of cards in the deck, but we are not using enough provisions. We want to use all our provisions, so we're gonna have to upgrade a couple things here. The first thing I think that we can afford to get rid of is our Golden Froth. But we don't really want to be playing fewer alchemies. We're already not playing that many alchemies. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 now without our Golden Froth. So we're going to add another alchemy. And I think this card is going to add a few layers of synergy to the deck. We're going to play a Freya's Blessing. Now the idea with the Freya's Blessing is this does play a unit. So unlike the Sigdriffas, this will play a Bronze Skellige unit from our graveyard and give it doomed. We're typically going to be playing our Crow Messengers. This will give us more ability to swarm our crows. It'll let us play our crows in 2 turns. The other option is if we have to play a Crow Clan Preacher or a Crow Clan Druid early, and we'd like to play another later, then we can Freya's Blessing for it, and of course it's going to be an alchemy card. Also, if we get stuck with a Skirmisher or something in our hand, in a pinch, we can Freya's Blessing for a Heme Scald and get it out of our hand. Next, we'd really love to be playing Defender. So, yes, it's a little weird to play Defender in a deck that doesn't really have engines, but we're very reliant on this Gettynith getting off. So we don't want our Gettynith getting heat waved. We also don't want the Crow Clan Preacher that is spawning off our Gettynith to get killed by... I mean, anything can kill this thing. It's going to come out as 4 power. We really would prefer to have it protected. So even though we really don't like doing it, we're going to cut one of these Crow Clan Druids, keeping in mind that we can now revive it with the Freya's Blessing. And we're going to play Covenant of Steel instead. So this is a complete deck now. We have 25 cards and no provisions left over. And we're going to check something called the Rule of 16. Now, the Rule of 16 goes based off what I was saying before, is that at the end of the game, you don't want there to be any cards in your deck worth more than 4 provisions left, because that would mean you wasted provisions somewhere. So the Rule of 16 states that you should only have 16 cards that you want to play, or less. If you have less than 16 cards, then you can place them your 4 provisions at no cost to you, right? So in this deck, we're going to look at our target cards. So any tutor does not count as a target card because this turns into something else, right, when we play it. It gets something else. So this doesn't count. This is 1 target card, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These Shield Maidens do not count as target cards because they're going to be getting thinned out of our deck. These are not cards we want to draw. So now we have 11, 12, 13, 14, and then one of these is going to get thinned out. And then we are free to play 2 of our 4 provision cards at no cost to us per game. Now, of course, some games are going to play more 4 provision cards. We're going to miss a 5 provision card somewhere. It happens. But what you don't want is to be playing like only 2 4 provision cards, and then best case scenario, you end up missing some provisions in your 5 provision cards and stuff. So let's take this deck and give her a spin, see how she performs, and yeah, I hope you guys found this part educational. I think the deck's going to work pretty well now, and I think we did a pretty good job sticking to the original game plan. Yes, we changed the leader. Yes, we got rid of the Greatsword stuff, but in exchange, we got to add a nice little discard package. When Coral buff happens, we can definitely consider some changes to add the Coral back in. Maybe we lose the Covenant of Steel, although it is actually better with Coral there because you can protect it. Maybe you decide to lose the Ceres, go for some other thing there. Maybe even the Hemdall. There's a lot of wiggle room in the high end in particular of this deck, but the bronze and stuff I think is pretty locked in. You could try to play another Crow Clan Druid somewhere, but yeah, let's hop into it. Let's see how we do. Okay, who will be our first victim? Ooh, it's somebody preparing for the Inspired Zeal buffs. Okay, Commandos. So, Commandos are going to be putting a lot of tempo out round 1, and they're going to be trying to bleed us. So, we'd really prefer to win round 1 and take a long round 3. Okay, we're going second, so we don't get our Mask of Ouroboros, but we do have the Burner Brand to discard our 2 Skirmishers. Makes me want to get rid of the Hame Scald. But we're going to get rid of one of the Crow Clan Preachers first. And maybe the other? We'll get rid of the Scald. Nice, Crow Mother. Crow Mother round 1 is always good. We did miss our Axle, and we did miss our Neuromancy. But we are on red coin. Definitely good. Nice, we can probably get out of this round. Well, hopefully we can get something out of him is basically what we're going to go for here. Going to start off with the Crow Messenger. Get some thinning out. Let's see. I don't know if we have the firepower to win this round. We probably do, actually, because this Hemdall, we can consider playing this round. This is the only real problem. Would definitely be a good time to have our Grimmist, but no worries. No worries at all. Gonna go Burner now. Make sure you do not burn a turn 1, because you'll end up burning one of your cards, and you don't want to do that.
We shall do it my way.
Alright, gonna toss these Skirmishers.
Let's not get in the way of
playing as a giant tempo play. Now, we may just decide to play this Crow Mother next turn and maybe take a tempo pass. Yeah, if we force him to go down cards, it's pretty unlikely that he'll bleed us. We'll probably just go to a long round 3, which is what we want. But he's putting up some tempo here, so it doesn't look like that's going to happen. This is going to be really good, this game. Okay, going Crow Mama. Setting up some carryover for next round. And round 3 for that matter. Carryover in both rounds, because he is pretty likely to try to bleed us.
Dark clouds gather over Temeria.
Okay, that's pretty big. It's really good to get AA out of him. If he got to bleed us with AA round 2, that would be pretty problematic. Goes for the scout. Yep. He's going to start his little engine going. Likely has something like a reinforcements in his hand to play another blue stripe scout. But there's nothing we can do about it. Gonna have big reach with this. So this is currently playing for 13. So just need to think about staying in reach. I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to contest this round, though. I'm considering just passing now before he gets too much carryover going on. I think that's the plan. Because now he's used one of his blue stripe scouts, and he's not really going to have... Well, we know he doesn't have one in hand, right? So if he has reinforcements or something, we're disallowing him to use his reinforcements now to get more carryover. Okay, so as far as mulligans are concerned, we know we're getting rid of the Shield Maiden. We also know that we're very likely to get bled here. We might want to defend that bleed with our Ceres. This is a funky spot because we really don't want this card. It's just playing as a 4 right now, but we also don't want to draw into our other Shield Maiden. If we draw a different card and draw into our Shield Maiden, well, actually it just puts it in the grave. That doesn't help at all, huh? Alright. Woo! We rolled the dice. We got there. So... we'd love to save this Getty for a round 3. I don't know if it's going to be possible, though. We'd really like to have either our Getty or, either our Getty or our Ceres for round 3. Wow! Okay, I think this is a big mistake from our opponent here, giving us a long round. Great in a long round. Great in a long round. We still have our Axle coming, but we might have a pretty full board, so I don't think we're going to want a Crow's Eye Rhizome. This might be our card for the dry pass here. I think it is. And then we can consider playing the Aniro to thin one out. Until we get down to 7 cards, we can just play anything we want. Yeah, Aniroing for a Heime Scald seems pretty good. Just getting it out of the deck. What would I discard, though? I don't really have anything I want to discard. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we just pass. Yeah, I think I should have done that first. I think I should have Aniroed and then discarded my, Crow's Eye Rhizome. So I'm curious what kind of commandos this is. It's not triple. It certainly might be Drog commandos. Okay, so they could be playing Margarita, which would require this, but we're hoping that we can find... Oh, actually, we have our Ermion already. Never mind. This is just a searchable card for us, so we don't want that. Axle 3 Eyes. So we're going to have 3 beasts from our Gettynith. Probably 2 beasts from our Freyas, I would imagine. So that's playing for 10 right there. That might be worth it. Anything else we want to get rid of? Maybe this Decoction. Oh, nice. Okay, this is really good. Okay, this is pretty perfect, actually. We did miss our Crow Clan Druid. A bummer. That is a good card, you know, but we got a little bit too much stuff we're focusing on to fit it, unfortunately. First things first, I think we're just going to slap this Defender down.
Don't see a gap in their armor. Make one.
We're going to have a ton of points this round. A ton of them. Because he didn't get anything out of us round 1. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty silly. But so as we were talking about, we really want the least stuff left in our deck at the end. So 4 provision, 4 provision, 4 provision, 4 provision. These are coming out. This is probably coming out with our Ermion. That leaves only 1 wasted provision in here. So doing pretty well as far as using our provisions is concerned.
Reach beyond what the eyes see and the ears
Now this deck might play Yrden, so we're gonna play around the Yrden. We're gonna put at least 1 of our Crow Clan preachers on the front row. Probably just 1, because we're gonna have a pretty tall boosted thing from our battle trance up there. From the Mardrome, from our battle trance, I should clarify.
Stop! Please!
So this might be the best target we have for the Gigascorp, but I don't really want to play it until I have a bunch of Crow Clan preachers on the board. So we'll put this in the front row now, I think. It's going to boost to a 6. He shouldn't really have 6 removal for it. Boiling Oil could kill it, though. With the Griffin Witcher plus Boiling Oil, we'll be able to kill it. We really don't want that. What can we do, though? I don't think we have much of a choice. We're just going to slap her
Man is
down.
an arrogant creature. 1,000 beaks like 1,000 arrowheads.
Alright. So, already starting to see a lot of points. He, of course, is going to have a ton of points, too. He's probably going to AA for a blue stripe. Okay, that is what's going to happen over here. He's going to take it out with a Griffin Witcher. That's okay, though. Ah, man. That leads me to believe he's not playing Yrden. A lot of the time, if you would play Yrden, you would just not play any Boiling Oil. I don't know if this deck has room for Yrden, especially if he's playing Drog. Do we just play right into it? Do we just back row this next one, in case he has another Boiling Oil? Might. I don't know.
He licked my mushrooms again.
So, debatable using it on the Covenant of Steel, because it is the only targetable card if he has something like a Heat Wave. But, we did get an extra point because of the shield, so one of the 3 damage was not done, and we still got the 9 boost. Maybe not worth it. Definitely not going to be worth it if he ends up having the Heat Wave. I feel like he'd already used the Heat Wave if he had it, though. I feel like he would have just taken out the Covenant of Steel as soon as I played it. And now, like something like a Seltkirk can't take it out either.
Nice mess you've got here.
Okay, that's a lot of points. That seemed kind of silly. Why did he use 2 leader charges on it? That's very strange. I wonder if that was an accident. Okay, gonna finally kill this Griffin Witcher.
Gods protect us.
Okay, so we're probably going to Freya's for the Crows, which will be a nice 8-point play on top of the 4 points we get here, so 12-point play. And then we're going to have a 10-point Axel 3 Eyes. We do still have the Aneromancy. I didn't even realize that. So we can actually play our Crow Clan Druid, which leaves us missing 0 provisions from our deck. Gotta love it. crow time.
Modern Freyr is patient, but she brooks no insult.
Nice. Oh! Oh, we've made a mistake. We've made a mistake. We need 4 spots for our Ceres, and we've only left 3. I sure hope they kill something up here. Oh man, that's a big mistake. Okay, well hopefully he's Drog. If he is Drog, then he's definitely going to kill one of these little crows. We're going to have to hold out until then. Not going to play this Hemdall until he transforms these. He is probably Drog. That's the good news. Oh man. That's a pretty big error playing these up there. Because now we can't play our Druid up there. Just going to play Axel 3 Eyes for now.
I hear tomorrow's succulent color.
Pretty good value. If he is Drog, all of our problems will be fixed, because he's going to end up killing 2 of these, most likely, to get some Revenant value. That's a pretty late lock. Pretty late lock. We don't really care that much about that lock. We'd love to be able to go Ceres here. But I think we have to wait. So we probably just go a Nero. What am I gonna Nero for? I could Nero for a Crow's Eye and just purify this. Yeah, why not? Drog, 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 drog. Oh, that's weird. Could this not be Drog? I guess we have no choice. We have to Hemdall now.
The time has come!
If he doesn't go Drog here, I don't know how he could possibly win. I mean, I know how he could possibly win. A Jurden would win. Okay, big spores value for sure. All right, well, we're gonna get a little shorted on this Ceres value, but I still don't think there's any way he's gonna be able to make these points up. No Jurden. No Jurden. Oh. Oh, it hurts.
Any last words?
And we still win. Oh, thank God. Phew. Okay, well, it didn't go perfect. It's never going to go perfect when you're playing a deck you've never played before. But I think the deck's got some legs. I definitely think you could easily climb up the ranks with it. And congratulations to you. You know, it's your deck. It's your ideas. You know, I just put a little bit of experience behind it. You know. So after playing a few more games with the deck, I just wanted to give my opinion on what cards I think are the easiest to switch out if you did want to make some adjustments. For one, I think the Hemdall. The Hemdall's good. Hemdall's solid. It's better the swarmier the meta is, but if we're in some sort of tall punish meta or boosty meta, you might want to play a Jurden, or you might want to play a Heat Wave instead of that and upgrade something else. Maybe you upgrade a Crow's Eye or something like that if you decide you don't need the Purify to a Crow Clan Druid. The Crow Clan Druid's really good in this deck. I hate that I'm only able to fit one. If I was going to finagle with it more, I would probably try to figure out how to fit that in there. But I do think this is a really solid list, and I think you're going to have a good time with it. Thank you guys for watching. Please let me know if you enjoy content like this. It's definitely something new. I don't know if the format is perfect yet. Maybe I should play a game with the original deck on camera. Maybe I should play more games at the end. Maybe I don't really know. You know, if you guys have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments. But I think I think it went pretty well. I think there's a lot of value that can be gained, especially if you're a newer player, from just hearing about the deck building ideas. Homebrewing is my thing. I love building my own decks and stuff, and I love to see more people creating their own unique decks instead of just copy pasting. So I will be doing more of these. If you guys like it, please leave me a like, a comment, maybe subscribe. I would love that very much. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Oh, I almost forgot. If you have a homebrew that you would like to appear on Deck Doctor, please leave it in the comments below. It would be good if you commented what part of the deck is most important to you, what core interaction within the deck is really close to your heart, so I can make sure that I keep it in there when I do the doctoring. I can't guarantee I'll get to all of them, but I will do the ones I can if you guys enjoy this type of material. All right, have a good one.